Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martini, PhD, and I am the founder and creator of PhD Elite Corrective Hair Care Systems. Today, I'm going to give you information about the system and what it's all about. Our system is actually broken down into several categories. We have a corrective system, a maintenance system, a styling system, and coming very soon, a coloring system. Our products are all about amino acid therapies, and correcting the damage in hair that you're dealing with on a daily basis in your salons and even for the consumer at home. We really want to dive a little more into the Re-ANIMATOR, which is an energetic amino acid therapy treatment, and give you a little bit more detail about why this treatment is becoming so popular in many of the salons. And our salon is actually our top service for correcting damaged hair and damaged hair problems. It doesn't matter whether your hair is natural, relaxed, colored, or chemically treated. What we're doing is actually restoring the hair to its natural integrity by supplying the hair with amino acid. So now I'm going to give you a little bit more detail about how that works and what really the system is all about. We get a lot of questions in regards to the similarities of our treatment, in regards to its similarity to keratin, smoothing treatments, or Brazilian blowouts. Smoothing treatments or Brazilian blowouts. I can say yes, they are very similar, but there are some very key differences that we feel give our product the advantage. And in order to understand this, you have to understand the importance of proteins in the body, in the hair, the skin, the nails, and their effect on maintaining healthy life and healthy life form. So let's begin by talking a little bit about what exactly amino acid is. What amino acids are chemical units or building blocks. That's what they're popularly called. What they do is they make up protein. And to understand again how vital amino acids are, you have to understand that they are essential to life, first and foremost. It's protein that provides the structure for all living things. Every living organism, from the largest to the smallest, all the way from the largest elephant you've ever seen, all the way down to a microorganism. They're all composed of protein. And in various forms, protein participates in the vital chemical processes that sustain life. Protein chains are actually amino acids that are linked together. Each individual protein is composed of a specific group of amino acids in a specific chemical arrangement. Meaning if you have A, B, and C amino acid and they connect in that order, you're producing one particular type of protein. If on the other hand, C connects to A and then A to B, you're producing a different type of protein. Each one of these proteins have a specific function within their chemical arrangement to the body, and more directly to the hair, the skin, and nails. the way they are arranged, or the way they are made up in their particular sequences, give various tissues their unique functions, and the characteristics of protein in the body are tailored again for specific needs, which means they're not interchangeable. So that's why I want you to begin to understand this. As I go a little further in, you'll understand why we've chosen to have an amino acid system opposed to a keratin system. Again, speaking about these amino acids, and now that you're beginning to understand how essential they are to life, let me explain first, and I think a lot of people know, but I just want to touch on it again. Your body is primarily composed of water. It is 61 to 68% water, on a healthy individual. The next most prominent thing in the body is proteins, which generally tend to make up 16.8% or so in the body, followed by 14% of fat or fatty acids in the body. It's important that you know that it's water and protein that are the most important to bodily function. And you'll later understand why that's also very important to growing, creating, and maintaining healthy hair. The proteins that I spoke about earlier, it's important that you know also the body cannot directly use the proteins that are found in food. So we speak a lot about eating a lot of protein as a means to maintaining a healthy body, but the proteins that really make up the body are, again, not obtained directly from the diet. Rather, the dietary protein that you intake is then broken down into its constituent or its original amino acid, which the body then uses to build different specific proteins that it needs. Remember, we discussed earlier that each individual protein has a very specific function. Thus, the amino acids themselves are essential nutrients because they are what make the body able to build the proteins that you need. There are approximately 28 known amino acids that are combined in various ways to create 150 more or so intermediate amino acids inside the body, as well as 40,000 proteins that are now known to science. There may be more or less, technology changes and new things come about. But again, as of right now, there are approximately 40,000 proteins. Essential amino acids are those that the body cannot synthesize in sufficient enough quantities to satisfy the nutritional requirements for good health. And in good health, we're also talking about the hair, skin, and nails again. Your hair, skin, and nails are only an outward complexion of what's going on the inside. And since the body cannot synthesize enough of these acids, these are the acids that must be taken in through the diet. That is why they're called essential amino acids. There are essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. So a little bit about that. There are 9 essential amino acids. Most of these are found in meat, fish, eggs, and other dairy products. In addition, cysteine, which is one of the major ones involved with our hair, and also tyrosine, they're sometimes classified as non-essential amino acids, but for purposes of what we're doing, they definitely fall in the essential amino acid category. The non-essential amino acids. Um, these the body can actually produce enough of to maintain a healthy life or a healthy lifestyle or healthy body function. Um, the non-essential amino acids, however, are not as important in what we're doing today. The one that I do want to point out, though, is arginine. Arginine is one of the only non-essential amino acids meaning that the body produces plenty of that. Arginine is very, very important to the hair structure and healthy hair. So then you may ask, why again are amino acids so important to healthy hair and healthy hair growth? This is because, as I stated earlier, the body uses amino acids as part of the metabolism to make tissue, such as muscles, skin, red blood cells. Amino acids also make keratin, protein that makes up the majority of your hair strand. This is why people are doing the, quote, keratin smoothing treatments. And now you're beginning to see why, without the amino acids being as they need to be, the keratin treatment is a misnomer. It gives you the appearance of a shine, and yes, it does restructure the hair to a degree, but not to the same degree that you can get when you impart raw amino acids into the hair, because it is the amino acids themselves that make up the keratin in the first place. So understand that the protein makes up the majority of the hair, and the body does not store excess amino acids. So people have to assume adequate amounts of amino acids every day. And that's why we also always say healthy hair is a whole body experience. It's inside and out. The average adult needs about 60 grams of amino acids to complete their protein per day. In regards to hair growth and structure, understand that the hair grows from a small pocket which is called a follicle. The follicle provides blood supply, and that carries nutrients and oxygen to the hair root. The strand has 3 layers: the cuticle, the cortex, and the medulla. The cuticle and the cortex are both made of keratin. The medulla is an open space in the center of the strand, and the hair grows continuously on the head based on that, or how much you have or not have in the system. The hair grows continuously for 2 years, according to most doctors, up to 1/2 an inch per month. At the end of the growing phase, the hair goes into a resting phase for up to 3 months before falling out and then growing a new hair. Only a small percentage of hair goes into resting phase at a time. So it's not like your whole head is going to go in rest mode. There's just small areas that go into resting mode, and the majority of the hair remains in its growing phase. So again, the amino acids are very important in helping this procedure or this synthesis, if you will, continue to take place the way it needs to take place. Amino acids feed several processes that influence hair growth. In addition to making keratin, amino acid also makes red blood cells that carry the nutrients to the hair follicles. Amino acids also contribute to the metabolic process that converts food to energy, that fuels all the body's processes first and foremost, hair growth. If your body doesn't get enough calories, it will use the amino acids for energy. And you don't want that to happen either. Because in some instance, it may break down proteins such as muscles, or it'll slow the rate of hair growth in order to compensate for the lack of calories. That's why, again, those calories and proper, dietary intake and intake of dietary things are important. I'm not going to break down each one of those amino acids for you, but I do want to let you know about the most important ones in regards to your hair growth. And those are cysteine, methionine, lysine, and arginine. And again, the arginine is a non-essential, so the body creates that in full abundance. The problem is we lack those essential amino acids, which is going to keep the hair growing and the structure as it should be. And so the program that we've developed, this Re-ANIMATOR amino acid therapy, is infused with these 3 amino acids, and along with some other fillers and things that will allow for easier protein synthesis or adding to the cellular structure of the hair. It's just important that you know that the prominent thing is the amino acids, and also the white clay, which is a kaolinite, and a silicon, which is also a derivative of an amino acid. I want to talk about why would you choose an amino acid treatment opposed to a keratin or a Brazilian treatment. Many treatments on the market that are keratin or smoothing or Brazilian, it's become hard to know which treatment that can be right for you. There's been much skepticism about the safety of keratin hair treatments. The addition of formaldehyde in many of these products has been much concern because there are a lot of carcinogens that are released into the air when the keratin treatment is sealed in with the flat iron. That heavy smoke produces a certain carcinogen that's you're almost getting secondhand smoke. You might as well sit in a room of smokers. So that's one of the main concerns with that we address, because we don't have those harsh fumes, because we only have in our product what the body already has in it anyway. We're not adding any formaldehyde, any analdehyde, and you need to be careful with the keratin treatments because many of them do say keratin or chemical free, and quite actually the last time I checked, formaldehyde is a chemical, and at that point applying that to the hair does break down the polypeptide bonds in the hair, which means it does change the structure of the hair permanently. Although most of them only have 3 to 10%, and some of them say formaldehyde free because it's not formaldehyde. It may be analdehyde or another derivative of formaldehyde. It's in the same family. So be very careful when you're reading the ingredients in those. Anytime you see hide, run. The closest form of anything that may borderline on being safe that's similar to an analdehyde or formaldehyde would be glycolic acid. But the thing there is you're still getting into an arena where the structure of the hair can be permanently changed. We're not permanently changing the structure of the hair. What we're doing is supplying the hair with the necessary amino acids so that it can create the proteins that it needs. What we're doing is creating an acid content externally, and when you're taking the proper vitamins, and we do have some of those we offer as well, and you're creating a alkaline content on the inside. Again, it's acid on the outside and alkaline on the inside. That's what creates a perfect balance for maintaining healthy hair and skin. So again, the first thing we say is that we don't want the carcinogens. So that's one of the reasons why you're going to choose the amino acid opposed to the keratin treatments. We've developed an all-natural smoothing and an intense repair treatment, which we do call the Re-ANIMATOR. It's an energetic amino acid treatment that uses amino acids and white clay to strengthen, repair, and naturally restore the integrity to the hair without the need of the chemicals such as the formaldehyde, the sodium hydroxide, the thiol, the lye. Re-ANIMATOR basically implements the important nutrients into the hair, such as keratin, the lysine, and the silicones, and it helps to eliminate 90% of the frizz and the unmanageable curl, which makes the hair soft, shiny, and manageable, and most of all, healthy. It makes the hair silky, smooth, and straight without permanently damaging the polypeptides in the hair, which means that if you're natural and you only want to soften your curl without damaging your natural curl pattern or the natural integrity of your curl, it's safe to use the product. What determines how much curl you will lose is based on how much heat is actually applied during the process, because there is still a sealing process that goes on within our system, and it's the difference between 3 flat iron passes or 8 to 10 flat iron passes, of course based on the texture, the density, and the coarseness of the hair. If someone is only wanting to soften their curl pattern and they still want to wear their curly hair, then of course you're going to use less heat and you're going to use less passes, and you're going to be able to maintain the polypeptide bonds so that they're not ending up with stringy ends, which is a lot of the problem that comes with a lot of the silk out procedures and the blowout procedures, and most definitely the Brazilian treatment in general. Another thing, a lot of women are, when they're natural, doing the transition thing. They're opting not to cut the hair. So that's something you also have to consider. If you have those ends that still have that relaxer on it, you still have hair that is covered in sodium hydroxide to a degree. So then you go back over it and you apply this, quote, chemical-free treatment that has some type of analdehyde or formaldehyde in it. Well, guess what? That's going to interact with that sodium hydroxide. And the moment you neglect your maintenance or your salon visits, you'll definitely notice some things going on your ends. I've had many clients come into the salon that have had that done, and the moment they either can't afford to go or can't maintain those products, you're getting an explosion of the cuticle on the ends. And see, that's another thing. Our product line, because it is so acid based, it is centered around contracting the cuticle, whereas a lot of the things that we're doing are blowing the cuticle open. When you put our products in, you're actually putting in something that, again, is already in the hair, and it has a micromolecular structure, so it's designed to get into the hair without exploding the cuticle in the first place. During a keratin treatment, the hair is flat ironed at 450 degrees to seal or, quote, lock in the keratin treatment for several weeks. Our product can actually be sealed in at a lower degree of heat, anywhere from 375 to 400 degrees. The keratin hair straightening treatments usually produce a pin straight mane due to the formaldehyde that locks the keratin treatment in the hair cuticle. With the Re-ANIMATOR energetic amino acid therapy, natural amino acids and proteins are sealed into the hair cuticle with the flat iron. However, the essential oils inside the Re-ANIMATOR that are absent in your keratin treatments are what coat and locks the amino acids and prevents the peptide bond from breaking. Again, you hear a lot of the keratin treatments also have do's and don'ts. You can't wash your hair for 48 to 72 hours, and you can't style your hair or put your hair in a ponytail, or don't color it, or don't add highlights. With the Re-ANIMATOR system, again, because we do not have chemicals, and because we're not doing anything as aggressive that will open the cuticle, there are no do's and don'ts with our system. Your client can continue to maintain their hair as they would any other day. They can shampoo. They can wear it in a ponytail. They can do whatever they want to do with their hair. Again, unlike keratin smoothing treatments, where they're based on formaldehyde or some form of formaldehyde to preserve the hair treatment, the amino acid therapy smoothing treatments are based on acidic proteins, and they naturally have a pH that is suitable to the open cuticle in order to seal that cuticle. Why? Because they have the pH that is already inside of the body in amino acid form anyway. We're not blowing the cuticle open. We're merely putting into the body what, again, is already there. So, again, they have a natural pH that is suitable to the cuticle, and they implement the amino acids and proteins and seal the hair bonds. The only one thing that I will say you should be concerned with is that if the amino acid treatment is applied properly, you may experience lightening of your natural color. And it's really not to a major degree. You may see 1 to possibly, on some softer hair, 2 shades of lightening. A good example of that is maybe if you're a number 1, you may raise up to a 1B or a low number 2, which actually in some cases is not necessarily a con. It's a pro for some people because it almost gives you a natural highlight, because what's happening is you're sealing the cuticle, and in many cases the cuticle is exploded open, and by sealing that cuticle you're reflecting more light. So what happens is you begin to see the natural underlying color of the hair, so it appears to be a lot lighter. So the only thing that we would say would be a con is that if you intend to wear your hair color treated, unlike with the keratin treatments, in this particular instance, it's usually best if you have your amino acid therapy treatment first and then apply your coloring after that. That way you're not losing the coloring that you previously applied when you apply your amino acid therapy. Okay, so now I've given you quite a bit of information about amino acid therapy, and if you follow into the next video, because there will be a series, of course they can only be so long, and I thank you for sticking around for that very pertinent information. The next video you find will give you more particular information about the befores and afters of amino acid smoothing treatments, meaning that we're actually going to show you under the microscope what damaged hair looks like and what the hair looks like once it's had an amino acid therapy on it. And then we're going to show you also the changes in the polypeptide bonds that happen when you have a keratin treatment that you will not see happening with the amino acid therapy. So hopefully you'll come around and check us out on that second video, and you'll get a little bit more intense knowledge about what aminotherapy is and how it can help both natural hair and also chemically treated damaged relaxed hair. By supplying these proteins, we return the hair to its natural integrity instantly. We're putting back what's taken away from chemical treatments, color treatments, relaxers, and other treatments that break down that amino acid chain for the sake of having a particular type of hairstyle. So what we basically do is we restore all of that. So the hair is like healthy instantly. You know, if you're a bleach blonde, you're shedded, you're frizzy, after you have this treatment, your hair will look like it's never been colored before. I mean, absolutely strong. The breakage stops instantly, and you have an unimaginable shine and bounce to the hair immediately. It's something that is absolutely revolutionary in hair care, and I know a lot of you have been on the keratin treatment, but the way we look at this is keratin treatment on steroids. So come on through, check us out on that second video, and we're going to give you a little bit more information and let you see again under the microscope what's actually happening to your hair prior to these treatments, and let you see the cellular reconfiguration and the regrowth of the hair after they've been treated with amino acid therapy.